You want to do what's best for your dog, but how sure are you about what that is? Our mistakes have far-reaching consequences for our fur babies. In this video, we're going to be looking at 16 things that your dog will never forgive you for. They won't only upset your dog in the moment, their impact on your fur baby's mental health could last a lifetime. What are they? How can you avoid making them? The first step is watching this video. Pay close attention. Your dog's future happiness could depend on what you learn here. But before we dive in, why not subscribe and join our canine-loving community to help you become the best dog parent that you can be? While you're at it, ring the notification bell to receive instant updates whenever we post new content. Number 16. Sometimes you know that your dog shouldn't be allowed to do something, but it's just so funny or cute that you can't bring yourself to tell them that. This is especially common with puppies, who have a real advantage when it comes to looking incredibly adorable, even with half your sock in their mouth. But you have to be firm. It might seem like you're being kind to your dog by cutting them some slack sometimes, but what you're actually doing is making them confused. When you neglect to reprimand your dog for breaking a rule, your fur baby doesn't think, "Oh, that's nice, the human is letting me off just this once." They think, "Oh, guess this isn't against the rules after all. I'll make a note of it." And then next time they do it, when you're maybe not in such a lenient mood, they've got no idea why you're suddenly mad at them. Dogs hate unpredictability, and making this mistake often can make them nervous around you. Number 15. Another side effect of this canine hatred of the unexpected is that dogs need routines in order to be happy. It's easy to forget how strange and unpredictable the average dog's life actually is. They live with a giant hairless human after all, which is weird enough on its own. But the human keeps taking them out of the house and carrying them around in a weird roaring machine with 4 wheels that goes faster than any dog could naturally run, or leading them about on a piece of string and walking slower than any dog would normally go. Sometimes the human brings friends into the home without any regard for the sanctity of their territory, and other times it takes the dog to the houses of others, and often the houses of other dogs, essentially turning them into an invader. It's all very weird, and the way that your dog copes with the sheer alienness of their life with you is by memorizing your routine. Now is the time when the human takes me out on my bit of string. Now is the time when the human produces food from the magic bag that contains a seemingly unlimited supply and puts it in my bowl. After that, the human will randomly fall unconscious and be basically unresponsive for around 7 hours. Not giving your dog a routine to give them some idea of what will happen next can cause them significant anxiety long-term. Number 14. Who doesn't love a big hug? Probably your dog. Although to humans, a good hug is usually comforting and reassuring, for a dog, it's just not a natural gesture. Dogs don't hug each other. They can't. They don't have arms. And the only canine gesture that really comes close to that is when one dog pins another to the ground using their front paws during a fight. Dogs tend to interpret being hugged as being physically restrained. They can learn to tolerate it if they have to, but if done too much, it can lead to a dog becoming afraid of their human, which is not a good thing for either of you. Number 13. There's a reason why they tell you to let sleeping dogs lie. Although your fur baby might look very cute lying sleeping on the couch and you might be tempted to try scooping them up for a quick cuddle, waking your dog up suddenly by petting them can cause a reaction called sleep startle, when your pup wakes up and doesn't know where they are or who you are. It's especially common in dogs who didn't have much interaction with humans when they were young, such as former strays who grew up on the streets, or ex-racing or hunting dogs who grew up in kennels. The sleep startle reflex in these poor pups can be so strong that it might even trigger a bite, something that can irrevocably damage the relationship between you and your dog. Number 12. Nobody likes to be the bad guy to their dog, but you can't just let them do whatever they want. Sometimes you have to scold them for bad behavior, or else you'll end up with a pup who has no sense of boundaries. But if you do have to tell your dog off for something, make sure you catch them in the first 30 seconds after the act. Dogs don't automatically know what they've done wrong unless you let them know exactly in the moment. They can't understand you when you tell them what you're mad about. So if you find out hours later that they knocked the garbage can over, there's no point telling them they're a bad dog. They'll just assume you're angry for no reason. Number 11. When setting rules for your dog, there are some basics that you're likely to want to cover. Don't pee indoors, don't bark loudly and at random, don't chew on things that aren't chew toys, etc. These rules are necessary to make it possible for you to live with your dog without your belongings being destroyed or your neighbors hating you. But there's a problem. These behaviors are also a natural part of being a dog. Although we said earlier that you should be sure to set clear boundaries with your pup, with these specific behaviors, it might be worth trying a different tack. Peeing indoors, barking, and chewing on things are behaviors that dogs often engage in when they're in distress, so telling them off will likely just make things worse. Instead, you should try finding ways to improve their self-confidence and coming up with ways for them to exercise these instincts appropriately. For example, providing them with proper chew toys that are made out of the same material as the things they keep gnawing on. Number 10. Your dog needs positive reinforcement for good behavior as much, in fact, more than they need to be told when they've done wrong. But it can be so easy to forget. You're rushing out the door, your pup is bothering you, you tell them to sit and stay just so that they'll give you a few minutes peace to pack up your stuff, and then you finish packing up, you tell them goodbye, and you leave. It's such a simple thing to forget, but your poor dog is sitting there thinking, where's my treat? Didn't I do good? What did I do wrong? You should always take a moment to reward your dog when they follow a command correctly, even if it's just with a good dog or some pets. Otherwise, they might start deciding that there's no point remembering their training, and you'll have to start all over again. Number 9. You want your dog's attention, but they keep being distracted by their chew toy. What do? Well, the one thing you definitely don't want to do is try to take the toy away. Dogs can be surprisingly possessive over the things that they consider are theirs and can easily become paranoid about their toys being taken away from them. Taking a toy before they finished playing with it confirms their worst fears and can cause them to start engaging in a behavior called resource guarding. This is when a dog becomes so concerned about their belongings being taken away that they start reacting aggressively whenever somebody so much as comes near their precious playthings. This is no good for anyone. The human can't play with their dog because they don't have access to any of their toys, while the dog is likely too anxious to enjoy them. Number 8. The dog park is a great place for your dog and you to socialize. A 2020 study indicated that 40% of dog owners reported meeting some of their closest friends while out with their pup. They're like a furry friend magnet. If you're looking for new human friends, you might want to go to the dog park at times of day when it's more crowded. There will be more people for you to socialize with and surely more pups for your hound to hang out with as well. You want them to make friends as well, after all, and that's got to be easier the more options they have, right? Not necessarily. Remember, your dog's senses are much more sensitive than yours. What to you might sound like a friendly hubbub and the pleasant noise of happy dogs playing with each other could to your pup be an overwhelming mess of sounds and smells. Because of this, it's best to avoid the dog park if your pup shows signs they can't handle so much bedlam and come back later. Another common mistake is getting so caught up in social interactions that you forget to pay attention to your dog. Your main focus should always be on them, making sure that your dog doesn't get overwhelmed, anxious, or even aggressive in large groups. Signs like excessive panting, tail tucking, or trying to hide are all indicators that your dog might not be having as much fun as you think, and you need to remove your pooch from a situation before it escalates. Just because other dogs are off-leash and running around doesn't mean your dog is ready for that kind of energy. Take it slow, and always ease your dog into new environments to make sure they're comfortable. Number 7. Training your dog can be a frustrating experience. They just don't learn the same way that humans learn, and it's not only their inability to fluently understand human speech that causes problems. Ever spend a day teaching your dog how to sit on command, only to run into a friend in the park and have them refuse to demonstrate their new skill, in the process making you look either lying or crazy? It might seem like your pup is just being stupid or stubborn, but actually it's likely down to a miscommunication on both sides. You thought that you spent the day teaching your dog to sit when they heard the word sit and see you do a certain hand gesture. Your dog thought that they spent the day learning that they needed to sit when they heard the word sit, saw a certain hand gesture, and were in a specific room in your house. They learned to sit on command in the living room. They have no clue what crazy nonsense you were talking about in the park. Because of the difficulties in communicating with canines, it's important not to get frustrated or impatient during training. Even if you think you're hiding it, your dog can likely sense that you're upset, and instead of making them learn faster, it will likely cause them anxiety, which will make them more likely to make mistakes. Number 6. Your dog did a good job today, and you've decided that they've earned a treat. But when you toss it over to them, they don't seem to want it. In fact, they completely ignore it and instead sit there staring at you with a plaintive expression as if you never gave them a treat at all, and they're still waiting for one. What's that about? Is there something wrong with the treat you've been giving them? Probably not. More likely it's to do with the way you threw it. As predators, dogs have evolved to be able to see moving objects much more clearly than still ones. That's why when you're out with your pup and you see a rabbit, the bunny will often react by freezing stiff rather than going ahead and starting to run away. You may be able to see them clearly enough, human eyes having evolved to spot fruit, which is famously slow at running away, but they're hoping that your dog won't. This also means that if you throw them a treat at a weird angle or just outside their field of vision, your dog might not be able to see it. This is especially true for long-nosed breeds, who can have trouble seeing anything past that oversized schnoz. From your perspective, it's like you never gave them a treat at all. And if you keep making this mistake, then they might start resenting you for, from their point of view, withholding rewards for no reason.
Number 5. Obviously, all dogs are great, but yours is clearly superior to all other dogs. When friends come around, it can be tempting to try showing your pup off a bit and getting them out so that everyone can see what an amazing pet you have. But although some dogs might enjoy the attention, especially if the guests have food, others might feel anxious about having so many strangers in their territory. If your dog seems reluctant to get out there and socialize, don't force them. Your dog's shyness can't be cured by throwing them in at the deep end, and pushing them when they're not ready can lead to them associating anyone new entering the house with anxiety and discomfort, causing them to have a lifelong fear of strangers. Number 4. Dog parents choose to crate train their dogs for all sorts of reasons: to give them a place where they can feel safe and secure in the home, to give them somewhere to sleep, to keep them calm when introducing them to new environments, etc. But sometimes it can be tempting to send your dog to their crate for a different reason. If you're trying to get your chores done and your dog wants to play, then it can be easy to snap at them and tell them to go to their crate just so you can get a few minutes of peace and quiet. You get that they don't mean anything by it and just want to be friendly, but that doesn't keep you from being frustrated. The problem, however, is that your dog doesn't understand why their behavior is frustrating, only that you're mad at them, and because you're mad at them, they need to go to their crate. Next time you want them to go to their crate just to relax or take a nap, you might find that they're less willing to do it. Once they've started associating their crate with punishment, dogs are liable to assume that any time they're sent to it is a sign that they're being punished and will no longer find it safe or relaxing. Number 3. Stay, stop, don't move, stay there. To a human, all these phrases mean essentially the same thing. If someone said any of them to you, you would know that they wanted you to stay still exactly where you were. Whether you do it or not is another question. It can be easy to forget that our dogs don't think the same way. Dogs don't really know what the word stay means. They just know that when the human makes that noise, they're supposed to stop where they are. It's just like how you probably don't know the exact intricacies of canine language, but you might be able to recognize that your dog has a different bark for stranger approaching and I want food. Having a lot of different commands for the same behavior, therefore, only serves to confuse your dog and make them feel like you're being unreasonable. They can sense that they're not doing what you want, and they can't understand why. Long term, this can cause your dog to stop trying as hard with training, as they'll assume that they just can't please you. Number 2. What's wrong with a bit of light-hearted teasing and banter between friends? Your human friends don't mind it when you play pranks on them so long as there's no harm done, so why would your dog? Popular things that some owners do to tease their dogs include pretending to throw a ball but actually keeping it in their hand, blowing in their face, poking them when they don't expect it, and, most humiliating of all, dressing them in cute costumes to take pictures of. The difference between teasing a dog and teasing a human friend is that your human friend has the capacity to understand that you don't mean it, to see the funny side of it, and potentially to get revenge. To your dog, however, these things just come across as you being mean for no reason. Remember, it's not fun unless everyone's having fun, so save your practical jokes for people who can enjoy them. Otherwise, your dog may start associating you with these negative experiences more than with positive experiences, and as a result, could start to resent or even fear you. Number 1. Getting a lot of love and affection from your furry friend is one of the best things about dog ownership, but sometimes it can be a little much. Dogs don't often do small gestures, and as welcome as being jumped on and having your face licked might be when you come home after a rough day, it can be more annoying when you're on a work call or trying to leave in the morning.
But be careful about pushing your dog away too often or acting too impatient or frustrated when you do it. Our dogs learn how they're supposed to behave by watching how we react to their behavior. If your fur baby sees you reacting negatively to them trying to be affectionate, then after a while, they might decide that you don't want them to show affection for you ever. You could inadvertently train your dog to never give you cuddles again, a horrifying thought for any dog parent. A Finnish study in 2020 showed that 70% of dogs surveyed displayed consistent feelings of anxiety, despite Finnish dog parents loving their pups just as much as anyone else does. But our affection does not translate naturally into doggy language. Forget hugs and kisses, well, at least for the next 8 minutes. We'll give you other 9 little things that speak even more directly to your dog's hearts.